Hey there, are you a young man looking for clarity in your life? Should that be the case, this interview is definitely something that you want to check out. I interviewed a young man called Alex who actually reached out to me via Instagram after seeing my journey with Project 50. If you're not aware what Project 50 is, simply Google that on either YouTube and you'll find out about it. Basically, it's about committing yourself to 7 simple rules, 7 simple disciplines across 50 days. And if you break a habit, you got to start from ground zero again. This has been a very effective way for helping a lot of men become way more disciplined and just see themselves transform mentally and physically. So I invite you, if you're a young man, to definitely watch this interview, see how the relationship between myself and Alex evolved as I learned about him, his goals beyond Project 50, and how I can help support him in achieving that by keeping him accountable and by coaching him along the way as well. And so I invite you, if you're a young man, again, either reach out in the comments down below or reach out to me via Instagram. My Instagram will either be on this video or in the comments down below so that I may also help you as well. You might have no clarity whatsoever. You might be looking for somebody to kind of show you the ropes or even connect you with the right kind of people. I'm more than happy to do that. The reason why I'm doing this, the reason why I'm helping Alex and I want to help other people as well, is because I know this is one of my purposes, to really engage men, suggest great books for them to read, put them in the right kind of spheres of people, of men, have them be connected with what I kind of call older brothers to show them the right way. Because it's quite easy to be a lone wolf as a man and think that, I don't need anyone, I don't want to be surrounded by negative people, and as a result, you're just by yourself. And you're not progressing. You're just doing things very slowly. And so in order to accelerate your learning, I want to actually bring a lot of great men together, kind of build a great community where you can learn from each other, go to dinners and actually be able to benefit from that kind of energy. When we're men, when we're in a pack, the energy is insane. So I want to surround you with that. And so I invite you, like I mentioned, to either respond down below in the comments, email me or message me on Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to invite you into that close circle to see you transform and to see you accomplish your goals and get you on your purpose. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the interview. Let's go straight to it. Awesome. Perfect. Yeah. So we're back on. Alex, introduce yourself. Let me just know where you're at right now, your goals. Again, you actually reached out to me regarding Project 50. And I was just super excited to hear about you, hear about your other goals outside of that, and see what I can do to support. So again, just share as you were just a moment ago.
Definitely, yeah. So my name's Alexander Ugoh. In my final year of university, studying politics and economics. Project 50 was something that the minute I saw that you were doing it, Samuel, I was like, I need to try and add this into my daily life. I guess some of my goals, personal development, number one, like trying to upskill myself because it's my final year of uni, transitioning into the world of work. I thought no better time to try and like change my routine, change my even just my confidence in general. Like I can set myself a task and stick to it, have that consistency. So I think that's why I really want to do Project 50. And then some goals I've always wanted, for instance, like digitally as well. Like I'm quite a creative person, but I've never taken time to like learn digital creation. I know you're quite the expert in that regard because I've been following your works for a bit. So I think that was one of the goals I've added. And then physically as well, I've got a 10K run end of April. So having that consistency and like a training plan, 1 hour of exercise a day was important to me. And then also relating to health as well, I currently weigh 92 kilograms, so it's a good amount of weight, but I'm 6'2", so I'm trying to cut that weight down to maybe just below 90 kilograms.
Nice.
And then yeah, I've always been interested in reading like books around literature. I studied classics back in school as well, so read a few books like Ovid, The Odyssey. But this time around, I'm trying to read books which are more entrepreneurial. So Think and Grow Rich is one of the books on my list to read 10 pages a day.
Great book.
And just want to kind of get your insight, advice, and just like learn from you as well, because like I said, I've been following you for a while. Some of the ventures you've embarked on are quite interesting. So I just want to try and learn as much before I kind of finish up my uni experience.
For sure, for sure. And again, I'm actually curious, like, how did we meet, or how
Yeah.
did we connect?
So I think a few of my friends followed you, I think, on Instagram. So it
Okay.
wasn't a case of we met at an event, say it was more I saw your profile on Instagram,
Hmm.
some of the stuff you were doing at the time. I think that's when you had the As to Mange.
Yes, yes.
I think it was around that time that I started to follow you.
Okay.
And then just like I said, I've just been watching kind of like your posts on Instagram. I think you've been involved in some other stuff. I'm not sure, but yeah, I've just seen a lot of your face on social media, and I was like, okay, I kind of see myself hoping to follow a similar path in terms of personal development and just being a man in this kind of age and time. So that's kind of
Amazing.
why I was really intrigued to kind of get on board with Project 50.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm excited for you, Alex. And again, whatever I can do to accelerate your progression, your growth as a man as well, is always a delight. So yeah, to give you a bit of a background story about myself. So I did chemical engineering at University of Surrey. Towards my second year, I kind of realized that I had a bigger passion for a bigger impact and saw business as the vehicle for that. And so that's when I really started reading a lot of personal development books. And I was reading so many books on business and also so many books on like personal development. So it'll be Rich Dad Poor Dad, it'll be Think and Grow Rich, it'll be How to Think Big, it'll be As a Man Thinketh, it'll be Marcus Aurelius, even some classics, it'll be Obstacles Away by Ryan Holiday. And all of these books, just each and every time I was reading them, just unlocked another piece of my mind and made me realize the infinite potential human beings can have. And especially when I started mixing that with the world of business and realizing, each and every human being, we have the ability to create an idea, to create a thought. And just even thinking is the manifestation of an actual thing. When you're thinking, you're creating proteins, you're recrystallizing them in your brain. So you're actually manufacturing something when you think of an idea. Even when you're, watching a TV series that gets you so heavily engrossed into it, you are manufacturing a chemical compound that elicits oxytocin, endorphins, this rush. So again, a thought, an idea creates something physically in this world. And so when I really realized that power, and I realized, there's so many problems in the world. I was like, I gotta get involved with whatever thing I can solve, whatever thing that I can, just have that impact. So one of the key ideas that I had at university was running events called Infinite Quest, where me and my close friend Thomas, we would basically invite speakers to the University of Surrey, and it will be about personal development and about business. And that way, not only did me and Thomas learn so much, but also so many students who turned up for those personal development events. And they were never around back then. This was like around 8 years ago.
Mm.
But every single time at the end of the event, they always loved it because they were just like, oh my days, like I couldn't even imagine that I could even have a business for myself because we'd have three tiers. We have people who were full grown adults. We have people who were at the university, sorry, who started a business. And we'd have people who were like 16, 15, who were in a secondary school, but they had started a business. And that was why it was so inspiring because they could see that whatever position you are, you could start a business, you could get something off the ground. Yes, it may take some time and energy, but that's the whole point of entrepreneurship. And again, that was something that was great. But at that point in time, I was still quite early in my days of entrepreneurship, and I knew that I needed to learn more. So I went down the route of learning sales and marketing. So I worked in a marketing agency for a while, serving clients. That's where I started to learn a bit more about that digital savviness. And then after that, I worked in a company called Money Experts, where I was providing gas and electricity switches, helping people switch over to the best tariff at that point in time. And that's when I really learned sales. And then since then, I've actually done three or four more sales careers. So I worked at a place called so many places now. Um, I worked at Outfund, which is selling capital to e-commerce companies and large VCs as well. Worked at a company called Alexander and Dennis, which is again working with different procurement companies within the bus sector. And just mastering sales allows for you to just take that skill anywhere. So
Mm.
that was something that I really realized as an asset. But I'd always been doing business ventures outside of that because I'd always been stimulated by, the new things that are out there and what we could potentially do to add value. And one of the biggest thing that was the easiest thing for me was fitness. And at one stage, I actually ran a huge boot camp. We'd have about 50 to 100 students, and we do it outdoors. We make it very inexpensive, and we deliver so much value to them that they just loved coming back. And this is when I even saw my own fitness journey start. And even now, like I see it as like quite an integral thing to my personality because not only does it motivate me, teach me on my discipline, but it's also something that motivates other people, even if they're at a distance, even if they're just watching. And that's one thing that I always kind of noticed as the years progressed was by me just sharing my story, people were always just being inspired. And then till today's date, I run a digital agency where I service roofing clients and I do the lead generation for them. So I'll get them somebody who's interested in either doing a roofing or conservatory, and then I charge them 2 to 3 grand per month for that. As well as that, I also, I'm starting to now get into YouTube because I believe YouTube is something that we should all get into. Because when I really sat down to actually think about it, YouTube is actually almost the best business model because it's almost 100% profit. Um, once you've been monetized, you've done 1,000 hours, sorry, 4,000 hours of public views, and you have 1,000 subscribers, you know, anytime you're creating content and there's AdSense going in front of your video, you're always getting paid for that. And the longer the video is up on YouTube, the more chances that you're just going to keep on getting paid from that. And you don't have to manage it after that. YouTube does all the management. YouTube has already fulfilled it because it's already online. And anytime you want, like anytime you have somebody who's interested in what it is that you do, whether it's fitness, whether it's business, and you have an episode which you talk about that, you could just send them the link, which takes almost no energy to send the link and they can be binge watching your videos and having that one-on-one experience with you and you'll be
Mm,
getting paid for it. So yeah, YouTube is something that I just realized that this is something that I just have to do. Like it's not even a
yeah,
negotiation about it. Like if anyone wants time freedom, YouTube is one key thing that you got to do. Another key thing is when you look at the different social media platforms, TikTok is great for getting loads of followers. YouTube is great for monetization. Instagram right now it's in a very confused state, and if I have to say, it's kind of like on a decline.
yeah, I
Um,
agree.
and it's driving creators away from Instagram, And so when again, just by comparing all three platforms, I was just like, well, if I'm going to be utilizing my time, I may as well also be dedicating an amount of it towards YouTube. And so that's why I encourage, so many people, especially again, young men are my target right now to help because, the way the world is, inflation, we need to be able to provide for our families that we want to have in the future. And the best way we could do that is by building a solid foundation where we know that, if you've been doing YouTube for 5 years, 10 years, you know that revenue stream is coming regardless because your video's already up there. So if I can encourage young men to find their trait, develop their skill set, pump out videos, that's great. I've helped out another family out there in the world. So my agency, YouTube, and again, one of the key things I want to build is a mastermind to help young men like a group. And this is the start. This is literally the start. You, Alex, you're actually the first person who are
Oh
like,
yeah.
you can be the first person I can help be accountable to
Hmm.
and see that incredible change. And that will only inspire other men to want to get involved in
Definitely.
this group. And yeah, so again, welcome Alex to being the
Thank
first.
you.
I'm sure
Yeah,
it's going to be an incredible testimony to come at the end of this as well. So yeah, so that's
definitely.
the story.
Thank you for sharing. I was even taking down some notes as you said it because I think I'm definitely at the stage where, I think when I watched your YouTube video, I should actually talk about that.
Mm,
It was a really good insight into like you just said, what you're trying to create, the impact you're trying to have, especially on guys like me who are becoming men for the first time, trying to like figure out where their purpose is in life. I think I'm at the stage where I have an idea, a vague idea, and I've actually noted it down in like a document. Um, because I had a friend who was interested as well, similar things to me in terms of being the best version of themselves. So he's decided let's like ask each other questions, note down our answers. And I think that's what I want to try and pair with Project 50 and
mm,
hopefully get your kind of advice on is I have like a plan in place on a Word document, but for some reason, I guess I haven't prepared myself mentally and physically to try and execute that plan.
mm,
And I think that's where I'm at now. Is like I don't think you can execute the plan if your mind and body isn't in the right place.
Mm,
And I hope that Project 50 will be the start of me trying to accomplish that. And I guess to give you a bit of background as well. So just like yourself, it seems like you've had a very varied kind of career. You've done a lot of things. And for me, I knew that I wanted to go to uni to learn a lot about global affairs based on my degree. I'm really interested, and I'm Nigerian as well. So I was always interested in African affairs. So I
mm,
think my degree served me in that regard. But I'm also interested in business. So my grad scheme is in like it's like a corporate grad scheme, and it'll focus more on like sustainability and ESG, that whole kind of hub in terms of investments, but also companies trying to become more greener.
mm,
But my real passion, I would say, is in the NGO sector. So I'm an ambassador for a charity called CAFOD, which stands
mm.
for the Catholic Agency for Overseas Development. And
Wow.
that's where my true passion lies. And I think that's what I would like to say is what I guess, addressed as my purpose is to try and create impact, but more in terms of international development.
That's fantastic.
And I've done like internships within that charity, and they've always said that I'm very creative. Like they always ask me to try and create like Instagram videos for them,
Mm,
especially during their campaigns. And I do a lot of fundraisers,
mm.
and I really enjoy that creative side of it. And I want to try and combine that creative side, but on a more like global impact. And I think that's why I really stressed in my Project 50 the whole digital creation skill set because I think I'm at a very low level
Mm.
and I think there's so much to learn. And I hope this project will kind of keep me focused in trying to build those skills to then execute my plan. And I'm really hoping I can share that document with you if you have time to look through it
Yeah,
and
for
give me some
sure.
pointers as well. Yeah.
100%, 100%. And I'm telling you, you stick with us again. The mastermind I'm looking to create with other men. I'm going to teach any guy who's in that group how to do what I've done in terms of editing, and even like
Mm,
the courses that I've done. And you'll learn it within like if you really sit down and like want to do it,
yeah.
you learn it within like 2 to 3 hours, maybe four. And if you like want to take it to even like the next level, like even beyond me, over the next 2 weeks, like I said, I've got this course which is way more in depth. And if you sit down with it for 2 weeks, like you just be able to crush it. And like you'd be able to even have that as a service. Like I'm
Yeah.
actually one of the reasons why I've purchased this recent course is to perfect my skill set so that I know that I can officially offer this as another service. So as well as me servicing roofing clients, I might just like service other like digital creators. But this is a skill set where the ocean is so massive. And people are happy to exchange time for value. And if you can learn the skill, whether it be the charity, whether it be somebody at King's College, whether it be somebody even at your church, like you'll be able to exchange that skill set for a fee. So yeah, more than happy across the next couple of weeks. We'll go into all of that. So nothing to fear there. And then yeah, so just kind of tell me because I remember you touched upon about how you feel like the Project 50 will give you more discipline, and you are in fear that you maybe wouldn't start it off on the right foot or something like that. Just expand a little bit on that so I can have a bit more like what's your biggest fear and how can I basically assist with keeping you on track?
Definitely. I would say I always struggle in terms of I love taking on a lot. And I guess that's where my biggest weakness right now is that I say I like to always plan and write down loads of stuff. Like I want to do this, have like a checkbox. But I've done and tried to do like these kind of mini challenges where I say I'm going to do a week of this, 2 weeks this, and it never transpires into what I want it to be. I think that's definitely because like I said, I always let my mind float around on like I want to do this in X amount of time, but I never have like a full plan that is like 7 guidelines. Just try and get this done, and then once you complete, then you move on to the next kind of interesting thing that your mind has like floated to. But in the past, and loads of my friends have always said like you're very kind of you're always good at doing loads of different things at once.
Mm,
But I know in myself that I wouldn't say I'm like a specialist. And I
mm,
think that's kind of like my fear is like I don't want to be. like a jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. I think that's probably what's always in the back of my head is like you do so many things, you're into sports, arts, all of that stuff, but what's your niche? Like what are you a specialist in? And that's probably also because I come from a family which are specialists. So like my dad's a psychiatrist, my older sister's a lawyer, and I feel
Mm.
like I told you, I have a purpose, but it's like I want to be a specialist in that. And I'm just at this point, maybe because I'm still young, still trying to figure it out. I don't know what that specialism will look like right now,
Mm.
but I hope that this will be a start. I think that's to answer your question, that's definitely what's going on right now.
Okay, so there's quite key things to unpack there. The first is, you know, it's great that you are a person who has many multiple faculties or skill sets.
Hmm.
And I actually, whenever somebody mentions a quote about a jack of all trades and master
Yeah,
of none, the thing is, like, do you know the full quote?
I actually don't. I
Yes.
always hear it in a
Yeah.
negative sense.
Yeah,
I
so
always hear it
exactly,
negatively.
and most people do. But if you type into Google the full quote, I'll read you out the full quote. You can check it out later. Yeah, so it says the complete saying was originally a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. I let that sink in. Yeah, I read it all the time.
Okay.
All right, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Yeah. So imagine, let's say you devoted yourself to just being the greatest pianist. Yeah. That's great if your only job in life was to be a pianist. But if somebody can just be proficient in doing a piano, proficient in being a guitarist, proficient in speaking, like a jack of all trades, that person is going to be very useful to the marketplace. Yeah. So, especially with like our generation right now, it's never a bad thing to have so many different interests. The key thing is just to get to a level of proficiency in that skill set. Yeah. So whether it's like public speaking, get to a level where a speaking coach should be like, you've mastered this well. Like you're not trying to be me, the perfect speaking coach, but you've mastered this well to the point where you can probably go on to teach somebody else how to utilize your voice, take pauses to make it really impactful. Yeah. And then you take that skill once you've got the proficiency into something else. Then you master marketing. And then you blend the two together. And then you have this beautiful creation that just erupts. And then that's how you find
Mm,
your uniqueness in this world. You know.
yeah,
So yeah, so I just want to say, don't even look at it as a fault if you have the
yeah,
ability to, be multifaceted. Just just keep in mind that I just want to be proficient in whatever I put my mind to. So going back to your main point about keeping you accountable. So what we'll do is this, yeah. So you share the doc after this. I'll go through with it. And then I'll probably will start a WhatsApp group. And initially it might just be me, you, yeah. And you might find in like week two, maybe there's another person that wants to go
yeah.
through. And the key thing would just be, I'll check in with you guys every day, and you just post what things you've done and what things you haven't done. And we'll find the ideal structure that works. Maybe it's a post every day, or maybe it's every week, or maybe it's what did you do today? And I say there's usually two levels to Project 50. Yeah, there's the one where if you do miss a pillar, of the seven rules, you got to start again. And that's not one thing that like it's a tough bullet to swallow, but I do it.
Yeah, that's the one I want to do. I haven't put a disclaimer, miss a pillar back to day one. So I think I'm so competitive that I wouldn't want to make it easy if that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and again, like I would say, like obviously I've done it on social media, so it's a whole nother level. Like I gotta do it, and if I don't do it, then I gotta reset. But I would say when people are just joining, because again, this is probably be my fourth attempt at Project 50.
Wow.
I did it three times before. I did it two times before I went on social media. And then when I went on social media, I did it and then I dropped and now I'm doing it again. So again, this takes, because the first
Takes
few
time.
weeks, it takes, practicing, just getting fluent with like, do your morning routine, do your 10 minutes or 20 minutes with God, try not to forget that. Then doing getting to bed at a certain time so you can wake up at a certain time. And yeah, again, as you mentioned, I usually like 8 a.m. isn't an issue for me. Like I wake up at 6:30, but there are days where if I've been outside out with my girlfriend and I've taken her out for a day and I come home
Mm,
weekday because I dropped her off at her home, then it's like it's now 1 a.m. in the morning and I want to do a little bit of work and then go to bed. I've got to decide, okay, am I going to bed straight away? Am I doing this? And then am I trying to wake up at 7:45? You know what I mean? So again, it's just sharpening that discipline, rewiring your brain to understand I'm committing myself for 50 days. And across those 50 days, I want to accomplish these several rules. And you may find that some friends, they won't like the fact that you've had to make certain decisions, which means that you can't, see them so often. But just know, and this is what I tell myself, just know it's just for a season. It's so important for a man to do something for a particular period of time and just stick with it. Because once you do that, you then have that inner voice of whenever I set something to myself, I complete it. That's very powerful for a man. Like that's the same power you're going to use when you're in a marriage and you say, honey, don't worry about it. Whatever the cost of the rent is, whatever the cost of the food is, the cost of the tuition for the kids, I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out of the way. Because once you've told that story to yourself at a young age, that's your identity locked in. Yeah. And you want to, again, like you want to manifest that in something like a Project 50. Okay. Cool. So, yeah. So, again, I would go into the second version of Project 50, which is like
yeah,
you go in.
yeah.
But yeah, I think you're happy to do the version one. So that's good. That's good. Because sometimes, for some people, they might just want to go through it like just once, even though they might, they might quarter like 7 or 8 times, but just to go through it and then maybe they reset it again. So again, it's dependent. But like I said, the hardest one and the best one is the first edition, where you just stick to 50 days. If you do quarter, you just reset. I know it's gonna feel like maybe you're doing Project 50 for the whole year. But once you complete those 50 days, once you've told yourself, you looked yourself in the mirror that I'm going to do this no matter what it takes, and you complete it in 50 days, you've unlocked a new side of yourself. Cool. So that's that. Then tell me some of your bigger goals. What are the things outside of Project 50 that you'd love to achieve that may help you with?
Um,
You say you've already got a job lined up.
yes. So that starts in July. So actually, that probably does feed into the bigger goal. In fact, um, I definitely want to be in a position where, like you said, the whole point you said, which I loved, I noted down, which is like, here it is. Yeah, exchanging time for value. I think that's what I've wanted to do since I was like 18, which is like have a salary that I'm getting stable income from my job, which hopefully will be for a long career in like the corporate side, but then be able to like carry out my passion for international development, non-for-profit, and get to a point where I'm comfortable and I've maybe like excelled and over is that I can look at myself in the mirror and say, maybe I want to commit to this full time and maybe become like, I don't know, a consultant or like
100%.
into the non-profit NGO side, whilst not, like you said, feeling the added pressure of can I still provide for my family and etc. Because I think growing up, I always I really wanted to be in like the public sector, go into politics, but in the back of my head, I knew that I've seen how much sacrifice and effort my parents have made to provide, and I know that the private sector just naturally does have high income levels than the public sector. So I'd say that's my larger goal is to be so competent and like you even said, like your identity is so locked in
Mm.
that I no longer have to fear about that financial burden of what happens if I leave the corporate sector for good? Will I still have that stable income despite wanting to start a young family, buy my first property, etc.? So I think, yeah, that's definitely the longer term goal. And I think
Fantastic.
I also have in the document I'll send you the longer term goal when it comes to the like non-profit side, like what I would love to have an impact within. I think definitely.
Amazing, amazing, bro. That is phenomenal to hear, and it just sounds like your brain is just locked in, like screwed on just tight. Um, these are great conversations to be having with yourself. And these are great plans that you've already built for yourself. And again, whether it's with my support or another mentor, like I think you're just going to accelerate your learning, accelerate your positioning to just allow you to achieve all those key things. So, I'm really, really excited for you. So, yeah, I know we're running. I know with Zoom, you usually have about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to contemplate other key areas to cover. So definitely after this, again, I'll send you my number. We'll connect to WhatsApp so that we can start your Project 50 tomorrow. Um, and then you're going back to uni when?
So another ideal thing is uni's finished end of March,
Okay,
and then it's just exams in May and coursework. So
okay,
that's why I even wanted. I was so glad when I saw the Project 50 because I was like, this is the best time like
okay.
as possible because I don't have to think about the whole like lectures and
Exactly,
tutorial side. Yeah,
exactly. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, that's just the one thing I wanted to tick off. So that's great. So yeah, so perfect. And then what's the other thing? Yeah, if you have any other friends who potentially want to start Project 50 as well, again, like either let them know today, ideally, because
yeah,
we can start together. And then again, shoot them like my message. I'll have a call with them to help keep them accountable, help support them however way I can. And I know this is gonna I've seen this happen before. Like I've seen myself create big movements. Like with the boot camp, I created a whole big movement for like fitness outdoors prior to COVID. And I know that this is again going to be like another big movement for like young men where they have somebody who's helping them, keeping them accountable. And when you have that kind of community, especially when it's you got like you're a believer, right? Like church, not that. Yeah. Especially when like you have like God at the center, like you just take on a whole new level of power and a whole new level of responsibility and a whole new level of discipline and a whole new level of purpose. And when you're around men who have those similar values, amazing things happen. So yeah, super excited for you.
really
And I can't wait to see the results at the end of this. So yeah, I'll shoot you my number after this call, and we'll get started, bro. And again, shoot me your documents. You've got my email, but I'll send it again, and we can't wait to see it. All right.
perfect. No, thank you so much. I don't know if there's any time for a few questions. Like,
Yeah,
that-
sorry. Yeah, go ahead. I think
yeah,
we've
because I
got
see
10 minutes here. So, yeah.
9 minutes. Perfect. They won't take long. It's more about like some of the like you said, career, your career journey, pretty much. I think because yeah, it's like I said, I was following very closely your. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Is it Mange or did you pronounce it
Yeah, it's automobile. In French, it's
Automage?
automobile. Yeah.
Automage. Okay, perfect. Yeah, it was just more about like the whole concept idea of it, and because I was really enjoying when you were documenting it and showing your shoots and getting the whole
Okay,
like
even
it
back
seemed like
then. Wow.
yeah. It seems like it was a while ago, probably.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Because
so
yeah,
so just before COVID, I started. That's when I started getting into the whole like Shopify space, and I became a Shopify partner. Learned how to like create like stores, and then I had a friend of mine, Kevin Patrick, he was in textiles, and he didn't know how to launch a store. So he ended up reaching out to me, and I ended up creating the store for him, and I actually ended up being a co-owner as a result. And yeah, initially back then it was called Eaton, and then we had to
yeah,
do the whole trademark to have it be Automage. And yeah, again, it's still going on now. I still have my share in Automage, but I'm not
nice,
active within it.
nice,
I just have series of other projects. But yeah, again, it's something that again has that impact. It's
awesome.
around the world, and it, yeah, and it's sustainable. Like
Yeah,
it's so great. And this is
that's
what I mean by like when you're able to crystallize an idea, you have the thought in your head, and you just talk to the right kind of people, you can make it into fruition. And I believe every single human being when they apply themselves has this incredible ability of creativity. It doesn't matter even if you can't speak. The fact that you can think means that you can create something which hasn't yet even been made. Yeah. So yeah, so that's Automage. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that because yeah, I was really a fan of like the whole concept firstly, but then also like how you documented it and you kind of being like a business owner, but particularly for like a clothing line, especially like I'm really into my clothes, but I'm also, like I've mentioned, into sustainability
Yeah.
and that side. So it was a nice merger between the two.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that. I think the second question was definitely this is not something about on WhatsApp or at a later time, but one thing I like as well, one thing I admire about you is the like transparency you have on your page. I think I'm not really like hugely on Instagram, but I use it as like a portfolio of work. A lot of the stuff I to promote that.
Mm.
But I like the fact that you do it also from a human side, relationships, partner, like you said. Because I
Mm.
think I guess I'll just give you a bit of background about me without like giving too much away, which is like I'm in a very like nice, healthy relationship with my girlfriend, but it's like a first time kind of first kind of serious relationship to put it um inspiration from you pretty much in that regard. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, this is something that is more of a comment. I'd rather talk about it to you separately, but I
Yeah. No,
had to
for
get that
sure.
out there as well.
And again, I'm happy to have, this kind of conversation. It will be a conversation that I also have on YouTube, because I'm a very big proponent on redesigning how males now engage in society and like really have those clear non-negotiables, really have those clear standards. And it's not about girls who do X, Y, and Z. No, it's about you want to find a wife, you want to find somebody that you can cherish. And yeah, like it's do you know what's interesting, Alex? So we're both Nigerian, but also this is also my first serious relationship, and this will be my last. And again, it's one of those where I've had to evolve many times within myself, to get to a stage from being a kid to a man. And I was in church one time. I know we don't have much time, but in church there was a message that said, you know, you can determine what kind of a man a person is by seeing if he's still a kid or if he's a king, and you can determine if he's a kid if he's still playing with toys, and you can determine if he's a king if he looking to build and is taking on massive responsibilities. Because a kid won't want to take on responsibilities, but a king will. Yeah. So those are very powerful to me and wrong very true to me. And with my girl right now, um, like I have it very clear in my head, like I'm no longer interested in any other woman. Like this is the person I'm looking to build with, this person I'm committed with, and this is the mentality men, real men, need to have. Because in this world where we have so many choices, it's so easy to just be left, right, and center. No, but to commit yourself to God first of all, and with commit yourself to God, that gets you very committed to your woman. Because then you have morals and you have principles that go far beyond even what the secular world will try and like put on your face.
Mm,
So that's the bedrock there. But yeah, happy to have a conversation
thank
at
you.
one point.
Yeah.
But yeah, any last two questions while we still got
No,
30
I
minutes?
think those were the last two 100%. I wanted to finish with.
Amazing, awesome. Well, Alex, pleasure. Send me your
Huge
doc.
pleasure.
Looking forward to reading it. Excited to help you across your project 50. And again, I should have an affiliate link soon for the course that I've just got as well,
Perfect.
which will help with editing, which I know will be the asset that you need to just like take it to the next level. For me, it was only like it was like $160, which is like 120 pounds,
Yeah.
which it's affordable, and it will do the trick. So again, like once you have
Yeah.
it as a course and you just rinse and repeat, you'll master the skill set. So yeah,
Thank you for that. Yeah.
no problem. Awesome. Have a great evening.
You too. Take care.
Hey there, if you're one of the few that actually managed to watch all of that interview all the way to the end, first of all, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate that and it means a lot to me. But in addition to that, that actually tells me a lot about yourself. It tells me how invested you are about seeing yourself change and actually discovering your purpose as well. So if that is what you're about, then then definitely reach out to me on Instagram or click the description down below to see what I've included in there, because I'd love to do the same thing that I did for Alex for you as well, which is to unpack your goals, unpack your trajectory in life, maybe provide some clarity and see how we can include Project 50 into your life as well, so you can master that element of discipline. Because for so many men, just like myself, even if you do it at least once, 50 days straight, you're gonna receive something that's intangible but priceless. And I wanna see that for every single man, because I know how transformational that can be for the rest of their life. And the more times you do it, the better you become, the sharper you become, the more intellectual you become, because you're journaling as well, you're reading 10 pages a day. That habit, you have that for life, you're always gonna be leveling up, okay? So I'd love to be able to unpack that with you. Don't hesitate, act now. Click the link down below, message me on Instagram, let's jump on that call, let's put a plan together, and let's attack Project 50 together, because that accountability is what makes a difference. It's what allows people to just keep on growing, even if they fall down. They've got somebody that keeps them accountable to just go to the next level, go to the next level, and I want that for you, okay? So don't hesitate, click the link down below, message me on Instagram, and let's take it to the next level. Without further ado, that's it from this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.